My phone buzzed on my desk in my Nashville office, and I didn't think anything of it at first. I was in my zone, halfway through color-coding a seating chart for a country chic engagement party, coffee going cold beside my laptop. Then I glanced down at the screen. Asterisk, asterisk. You're not worthy of coming to my engagement party. Asterisk, asterisk. For a second, my brain refused to process the words. I thought it was a spam text, a wrong number, a bad joke, but it wasn single quotes. It was from my own brother. Let's call him asterisk, asterisk, the Crown Prince. Asterisk, asterisk, the Crown Prince of bare minimum, the Crown Prince of getting everything handed to him. The Crown Prince of my parents' hearts. His real name is Dylan. My name is Gina Marshall. I'm 28, a cultural event planner in Nashville, and at the exact moment that text came in, I was knee-deep in planning the very engagement party he just banned me from. On my own dime, I stared at the message, my stomach twisting, my heart dropping somewhere around my shoes. I'd spent 3 months on his event venue, catering, decor, logistics, timelines, pouring myself into every detail so his big day would be perfect. And with one line, he told me I wasn't worthy to be in the room. I wish I could tell you, I cried. I didn't. I just went very, very still, because my brain was already doing what it does best, planning. I didn't know it yet, but that text was the first domino in a chain that would lead to a full-blown rooftop disaster. A broken engagement, a viral article, and me sipping coffee in Hawaii while my family's drama burned itself to ash. And I walked away clean. If you think that sounds dramatic, oh, just wait. Before I dive into the full story, because it gets messy. Asterisk, asterisk. If you like long, detailed story times about family betrayal, karmic justice, and finally choosing yourself, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe asterisk asterisk button and turn on notifications. I post these stories all the time, and you do not want to miss the next one. Okay, buckle up. This is how my brother's perfect engagement party turned into his perfect downfall. I've always been the organized one. When we were kids, I was the one making lists for family road trips, folding clothes just right, color-coding notebooks. Meanwhile, the Crown Prince, Dylan, was doing the bare minimum and still getting praised for it. He brought home a C in high school. He's just more creative, Mom would say, ruffling his hair. Grades aren't everything. I brought home an A. What happened here, Gina? Dad would frown. You're slipping. Dylan forgot Mom's birthday one year and texted her at 11:59 p.m. He's busy, she said, smiling at her phone. At least he remembered. I bought her a cake, flowers, and a gift card with my part-time pay. You shouldn't spend your money on us, Dad said. Save it. That's the dynamic. That's the foundation. Fast forward a decade. And now it's not birthdays and report cards, it's weddings, engagement parties, and thousands of dollars. I became a professional event planner because honestly, I'm good at it. I love the chaos, the creativity, the rush when everything comes together. I've done cultural festivals, corporate galas, fusion weddings with 3 languages in the ceremony. It's my art form. So when Dylan called me 3 months ago and said, "Hey, G, Emma and I are getting engaged and we're thinking rooftop, Nashville skyline, kind of classy but still southern. You know, your thing. Can you help?" I heard, "Can you drop everything in your busy, bill-paying adult life and do this for free?" And my stupid, hopeful, family-loyal heart said, "Absolutely." When I say I poured myself into this engagement party, I mean I poured myself into it. You know that friend who shows up with a full Pinterest board, a mood deck, and 3 backup plans? That's me. I scoured Nashville for the perfect venue and landed on a downtown hotel with a rooftop that overlooked the skyline, the kind where the lights of the city look like fairy dust when the sun goes down. I met with Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager. Carlos is one of those unflappable hospitality guys who can juggle 3 crises while greeting you with a perfect smile. "Gina, you know I've got you," he said, sliding a contract across the table. "You're one of my favorite planners. We'll make it magic." I should mention, every contract was under my name, my reputation, my credit card. Then there was Teresa Morgan, catering queen of Nashville. Her southern spreads are legendary smoked brisket sliders, jalapeno, peach cobbler that makes grown men tear up. We sat in her kitchen, tasting samples. "You know I'm giving you a discount, right?" she said, spooning cobbler into little cups. "You did right by me at that museum gala. We'll make your brother's night unforgettable." I smiled. "He'll love it," I said. I believed that decor. I went to Brian Walsh. A florist and designer who can make grocery store chrysanthemums look like they belong at the Met Gala. We spread sketches all over his workshop. Rustic elegance. I told him. Mason jars, fairy lights, floral arches, think Tennessee roots but make it Instagram worthy. He grinned. I live for this, he said. I called in favors. I negotiated rates. I put deposits down with my card, expecting Dylan to reimburse me later when it was convenient because that's what my family always does. Assumes I'll float it, and I let them because I thought this time would be different. So, back to my office. That Tuesday afternoon. Spreadsheets open, emails pinging, seating chart tabbed out. Phone buzzes. I glance down. Asterisk asterisk Dylan, you're not worthy of coming to my engagement party. Asterisk asterisk at first. I actually laughed, like a little disbelieving puff of air. What? Very funny. I muttered. I waited for the follow-up. Lol. JK, or some explanation. Nothing. I unlocked my phone. Read it again. You're not worthy of coming to my engagement party. No emoji. No context. Just, I stopped. My chest tightened. I felt that weird hot-cold rush. Like all the blood in my body forgot which direction it was supposed to go. I typed. What is that supposed to mean? My thumb hovered. Delete. I tried again. Dylan, what? Deleted that too. I forced myself to call him instead. He picked up on the third ring. Yeah, he said, sounding bored, like I'd interrupted something important, probably a video game. Dylan, I just got your text, I said. I was proud of how steady my voice sounded. What do you mean I'm not worthy of coming to your engagement party? He sighed. Actually sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. Gina, don't make this dramatic, he said. It's not that deep. My jaw clenched. You literally texted your sister that she's not worthy of attending the event she's planning for you. I said, so yeah, it feels pretty deep. He hesitated. Look, Emma and her friends. They want a certain vibe. Okay, he said. You know how they are. It's going to be a very curated guest list. Curated. I almost choked. What vibe exactly do I not fit? I asked. The spent 3 months working for free vibe. He scoffed. It's not personal, he said. We just want a different crowd. You're too intense about this stuff. It's supposed to be fun, not like one of your work projects. I wanted to scream. This was literally a work project I'd taken on for free. I'm your sister, I said slowly, not a vendor, not some random +1. I built this night from scratch for you. How am I the only person who doesn't belong there? He sighed again, louder. Gina, can you just respect my decision? He said. It's my engagement. I get to choose who's there. You're overreacting. Overreacting. I pulled the phone away for a second and stared at it like maybe I'd hit some hidden camera show. Was he serious? The entitlement was unbelievable. So I'm good enough to plan it, I said quietly, but not good enough to attend. He didn't answer directly. Look, I'm busy, he said. I don't want to fight about this. It's done. And he hung up. My hands were shaking when I set the phone down. I closed my eyes, took a breath, and did what I always do when Dylan is being Dylan. I called my mom. Mom has this soothing voice that used to make everything better when I was a kid. Scraped knees, heartbreaks, failed auditions. She'd talk. I'd cry, we'd hug, and somehow it felt lighter. So I dialed her. She picked up right away. Hey honey, she said. How's my favorite planner? That hurt more than it should have. Did you know Dylan texted me that I'm not worthy to come to his engagement party? I asked, skipping the small talk. Silence, just long enough to be loud. Gina, she said finally, in that tone that already told me she wasn't on my side. It's his big day. He's under a lot of stress. You know how men can get when they're overwhelmed. I blinked. That's not an answer, I said. Did you know? She hesitated. He mentioned that you might not be there, she said, but I told him I wasn't getting involved. I'm staying neutral. Neutral, right. Neutral would be telling him not to speak to me like that, I said. Neutral is not watching your son uninvite your daughter from the party she's hosting. She sighed. Gina, don't make a fuss, she said. You know how sensitive Dylan is. He just wants everything perfect. Maybe he felt pressured. You can't take everything so personally. My blood boiled. He literally said I wasn't worthy. I said, how am I supposed to take that? As a compliment. You're twisting his words, she replied. You know your brother. He's impulsive. You always have to be the mature one. I almost laughed. There it was. The old script, be the bigger person. Don't upset your brother. He's fragile. He's just like that. So I'm supposed to keep working? I asked. Keep planning his party, paying deposits, managing vendors, and not show up because his fiancé thinks I ruined their vibe. Mom's voice hardened. This is about family, Gina, she said. Sometimes you have to set your feelings aside and support your brother. You're making this harder than it needs to be. My chest hurt. You're asking me to be okay with him humiliating me, I said, and still serve him. I'm asking you not to blow up your relationship with your brother over one event, she said. You know how he is. Don't be selfish. Selfish. I opened my mouth, then closed it. I realized we weren't having a conversation. We were replaying a pattern, and I was over it. Okay, I said, forcing my voice calm. Thanks for your honesty, Mom. Gina, I hung up. 3 days later, I was at my office again, sorting through vendor invoices, trying to decide if I was actually going to keep working on a party. I apparently wasn't worthy of attending. My phone rang. Dad. For context, Dad is the financial voice in the house. The we have to be practical guy. The do your duty guy. The one who tracks who paid for what and who owes whom. I answered. Hey Dad, Gina, he said, businesslike. We need to talk about the engagement gift. I already felt my stomach drop. What engagement gift? I asked. For your brother and Emma, he said. We're all chipping in. Your mother and I thought it would be nice if you contributed $3,000 toward their honeymoon package. I sat there, stunned. $3,000? I repeated. Dollars. Don't act like you don't make good money, he said. You're always busy with those big events. This is your only brother's engagement. You should be proud to help. I almost laughed. I'm not even invited to the party. Dad, I said, Dylan literally told me I'm not worthy to be there. And you're asking me for $3,000? He paused. Your brother is under pressure, he said. He told me there was some tension between you two, but that doesn't change your obligations. Family doesn't keep score. I wanted to scream. Family absolutely kept score in our house, just never in my favor. I've already paid deposits, I said, with my own money, for his venue, his caterer, his decor. I'm doing the work of a full-service planner, for free. That's your choice, he said, dismissive. You didn't have to go overboard, but this gift is a separate matter. This is tradition. I expect you to do your part. The entitlement was unreal. No, I said, my voice sharpening. I'm not giving them $3,000 when I'm not even welcome to attend. I've done enough. There was a long pause. You're making this harder than it needs to be, he finally said, his tone cool. You always have to make everything about your feelings. Maybe because my feelings keep getting trampled. I shot back. Gina, he warned, don't start. I realized something in that moment. They didn't see me as a person with limits. They saw me as a resource, an ATM, with a planner's spreadsheet. I'm not paying for a honeymoon I won't even be toasted at, I said. This conversation is over. And I hung up. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but under the anger, something else was forming. A decision, as if the universe wanted to double underline the message that I was out. My phone buzzed again later that night. Instagram notification. Vanessa just tagged Dylan Marshall Emavon in a post. Best bachelor party ever. My cousin Vanessa is the life of the party type. Loud, fun, always in the middle of everything. We grew up together. She's also been slowly drifting closer to Dylan and further from me the older we got. I opened the post. There they were, Dylan and Emma, surrounded by their friends at the Bluebird, one of those neon-lit Nashville bars everyone posts from. Champagne, shots, balloons, Vanessa front and center. Throwing up a peace sign. The caption, best bachelor party ever. I scrolled through the stories, clips of them clinking glasses, Emma laughing, sitting on a throne made of bar stools, Dylan doing a terrible karaoke version of some country song. More than 20 people there. All of them worthy, apparently. Not a single text to me, not a hey, are you coming? Not a we're going out, join us if you want. Nothing. Every smile in those photos felt like a slap. I messaged Vanessa, hey, saw your post. Was I supposed to be there? She replied almost immediately, oh gee, it was just a small thing, didn't think you'd care. Didn't think I'd care. I'd spent 3 months building the stage for their big night, and they didn't think I'd care about being involved in any of it. I started typing a whole paragraph about how hurtful that was, how disrespectful, how she of all people should get it. Then I deleted it. Because it hit me. They genuinely did not see me. Not as a person with feelings. Not as anything beyond the one who gets things done. I put my phone face down on my desk and stared at the stack of contracts. My name on every one. Carlos, Teresa, Brian. All my relationships, my reputation. And I wasn't invited. I wasn't funding this anymore, not emotionally, not financially, not logistically. Something inside me clicked. 1 week before the party, I met my best friend, Tracy Fisher, at a coffee shop near Music Row. The place was buzzing with songwriter types and tourists trying to look like songwriter types. Acoustic guitar in the corner, latte art, the whole Nashville aesthetic. I slid into the booth across from her, my laptop and a stack of papers in hand. Tracy works as a freelance journalist and part-time social media strategist. She has this way of listening with her whole face, eyebrows, eyes, everything. She's brutally honest in a way that somehow still feels like a hug. I unloaded the text. The call with Dylan. Moms don't make a fuss. Dad's $3,000 guilt trip. The Instagram party. I talked for a long time. My coffee went cold. Tracy didn't interrupt once when I finally ran out of words. She took a slow sip of her latte and set it down. Gina, she said, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to actually think about it, okay? Why are you still planning this party? I blinked, because I started, then stopped, because I'd already put in the work, because it's what I do, because walking away felt like failing, because maybe, if I did a good enough job, they'd value me. She raised an eyebrow. You signed all those contracts, right? She asked. With Carlos, Teresa, Brian. Everything is under your name. I nodded. Yeah, I said. That's how it works. I'm the planner. I'm the one vendors deal with. She leaned in. So, if you walk away, what happens? I frowned. They have to deal with Dylan directly. I said slowly. He has no idea how any of this works. He thinks events just appear. Her lips quirked. Exactly, she said. Gina, listen to me. They are using you. They want your labor, your creativity, your money, your contacts, but they don't want you. That sentence took the air out of me. They're your family, she continued. I get it. That makes it complicated. But if this was a client who texted you that you weren't worthy to attend their event, would you still work with them? I snorted. Absolutely not. So why? She said softly. Are you letting your brother treat you worse than a stranger would? I stared at my laptop, at my spreadsheets, at the color-coded lists, the carefully crafted timeline. 3 months of my life on that screen. Because he's my brother, I said weakly. And you're his sister, she said, not his staff, not his sponsor, not his emotional punching bag. You have the power here. Gee, you've always had it, you just haven't used it. Her words sank in like a stone dropping into a lake. I thought about little me, cleaning up Dylan's messes. Baby shower I planned for our cousin because Dylan forgot to help. Birthday party I saved when he messed up the cake order, and mom praised him for trying. Present day me, still doing the same thing but with more zeros on the invoices. What if I swallowed. What if I stop? Tracy's grin was immediate and wicked. Bingo, she said. Let the crown prince plan his own coronation. I laughed, the sound half nervous, half relieved. Is that too petty? I asked. No, she said firmly. What they're doing to you is petty. You stepping back from unpaid labor is boundaries. There's a difference. She pointed to my laptop. Open your email, she said, right now. I hesitated. Then I opened it. You are going to write to Carlos, to Teresa, to Brian, she said. You're going to tell them professionally that you're stepping back from managing this event due to personal circumstances, and that Dylan will be taking over as their point of contact. My fingers hovered over the keys. I don't want to burn bridges, I said. You won't, she replied. You're not canceling on them last minute. You're shifting responsibility to the person who actually owns the event. They're adults. They'll understand. So I did it. I wrote 3 emails. To Carlos. Hey Carlos, due to personal reasons, I need to step back from managing Dylan and Emma's engagement event, effective immediately. Dylan is the primary contact for all logistics and decisions. To Teresa. Hi Teresa. I'm stepping away from the event planning side for my brother's engagement. You'll coordinate directly with Dylan from here on out. I appreciate everything you've done so far and will make sure you're paid for existing commitments. To Brian. Brian, I wanted to let you know I'm no longer overseeing Dylan's engagement party. Please direct any questions and final approvals to him. I value our working relationship and hope to collaborate on future projects. I kept it professional, clear, no drama. My heart pounded as I hit send. Immediately, Carlos replied, "Gina, you're the glue here. Are you sure?" I typed, "I'm sure. Thanks for understanding." Teresa called. "What happened?" she asked. "You had this on lock. He's not ready to manage this." "Honey," I swallowed. "It's complicated," I said, "but I trust you to handle it with him." Brian texted, "You okay? This is unlike you." I stared at the message for a long time, then I put the phone down. I had done it. I had let go. Asterisk, asterisk. Quick question for you listening right now. Asterisk, asterisk. If you were in my place, got out of the event you built, then asked to keep working and pay more, would you walk away like I did? Or would you stay to keep the peace? Let me know in the comments. Because I still wonder how many people would have stayed and lost themselves in the process. That night, my apartment felt strangely quiet. No vendor calls. No spreadsheets. Just the hum of my fridge and the echo of my own thoughts. My phone didn't ring. No one noticed yet. Of course they didn't. They were used to things magically being handled. I opened my laptop again. But this time, not to work. I opened a travel site. Destination, Honolulu HNL. I'd had this little fantasy since Dylan's text, me, somewhere far away while his big night happened without me. At first it was a joke I made to myself. Now, it felt like a plan. I scrolled through flights. There it was, a flight from Nashville to Honolulu, with a layover, landing in Oahu the same afternoon as Dylan's engagement party. Departure time. That morning, I pictured it, them scrambling on the rooftop, me stepping out into warm island air. I hovered over the book button, my heart pounded. Was I really going to do this? Run away to Hawaii while my family expected me to be at their beck and call? I thought about Dylan's text. "You're not worthy of coming to my engagement party." Mom's voice. "Don't make a fuss. Be mature." Dad's tone. "Just do your part. Don't make this about your feelings." Vanessa's message. "Didn't think you'd care." I clicked. Booking confirmed. I exhaled, a laugh bursting out of me, half disbelief, half relief. I called Tracy. "I did something," I said. "Please tell me you changed your name and moved to Europe," she said. "Close," I replied. "I booked a flight to Hawaii. I leave the morning of the party." She squealed. "Gina, I am so proud of you," she said. "Let them drown in their own mess. You deserve a beach and a cocktail." For the first time in weeks, my shoulders dropped. I was choosing me, not as a reaction, not as a tantrum, as a boundary. The morning of the engagement party, I woke up before my alarm. Sunlight was just starting to creep through my blinds. I showered, put on comfy travel clothes, grabbed my suitcase, and headed to the airport. Nashville Airport was its usual chaos, country music in the speakers, people rushing with cowboy hats dangling off luggage, bachelor and bachelorette groups already tipsy at 9 a.m. I found my gate, got a coffee, and sat down. My boarding pass to Honolulu glowed on my screen. I checked the time. Back in the city, Carlos and his team would be starting rooftop setup without me. My phone buzzed. First text of the day. From Mom. "Gina, call me. We need to talk about the party." Then Dad, "Where are you? We have questions about the vendors." Then Dylan. "Teresa is asking about final headcount. Where is the spreadsheet?" I sipped my coffee. I watched planes taxi. I didn't reply. They had my number for months when it came to using me. They could figure this part out on their own. I wasn't there, but I heard about it later from Carlos, from Teresa, from a couple of guests who slid into my DMs, asking why they couldn't find the planner. Asterisk, asterisk, Carlos asterisk asterisk called Dylan early that morning. "Hey man," he said, "we're here setting up. Normally Gina would be up here by now. Can you walk me through the final layout?" Dylan, apparently, sounded confused. "Layout? Yeah," Carlos said. "The diagram, seating chart, revised floor plan Gina mentioned. We have half the tables set, but we're missing notes for the head table, desert station, bar flow." Long pause. "Just do whatever looks good," Dylan said. Carlos later told me he pinched the bridge of his nose and muttered a prayer. Then it was Teresa's turn. She'd loaded her team, her food, her chafers, but no updated timeline, no final dietary restrictions list, no confirmation on when speeches would happen. She called Dylan. "Sugar, I need to know when you want the main dishes out," she said. "Your sister had us serving hot sliders, cobbler, the works, but I got an email from Emma's friend last night about cold sandwiches. I'm confused." Apparently, Emma had decided last minute that sliders were too messy and asked for lighter fare. through a random group text that never made it to Teresa's official channels. Without me to translate, it was chaos. Some items didn't get loaded, others weren't prepped. Vegetarian options lost somewhere in the mix. Brian showed up with part of the decor, half the flowers, some fairy lights, but nobody had confirmed access times or ladder availability for the rooftop arches. No one had coordinated the lighting team. No one had checked the weather forecast properly for wind. By the time guests started arriving, half the tables had CENTERPIECES, half didn't. The floral arch I'd envisioned as the photo backdrop, replaced with a sad bunch of balloons someone picked up last minute at a party store. The colors didn't even match. The food came out in weird waves. Some people got cold sandwiches, others waited an hour for lukewarm sliders. The peach cobbler never made it to the buffet. The lighting was dim, creating shadows instead of ambience. Guests whispered. Phones came out. A few less kind ones posted on their stories. When you're promised classy rooftop engagement and get conference room energy instead, #Nashville. I didn't see this in real time. I was at my gate, boarding group, lining up, boarding pass in hand. My phone started buzzing nonstop. Mom, Gina, something is wrong with the food. Call me now. Dad, this is unprofessional. You need to fix what you started. Dylan, everyone is asking for you. Teresa is pissed. Carlos is pissed. Emma is freaking out. Why did you disappear? Unknown number. Hi, this is a guest at Dylan and Emma's party. Are you the planner? We have some feedback. I looked at my screen. At the little wall of notifications. Each one a tiny emergency flare from the rooftop. I walked away from. Then I hit the side button. Phone silenced. I slipped it into my bag. And when my boarding group was called, I got on the plane. Real talk moment. If your family treated you like this and then only contacted you when everything fell apart, would you have caved and helped? Or would you have done what I did, turn the phone off and get on the plane? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how many of you would have been tempted to rescue them one last time. Stepping off the plane in Honolulu felt like walking into another universe. The air was warm and soft, thick with the smell of salt and plumeria. People walked around in shorts and flipped, laughing, dragging suitcases toward taxis. No one here cared about Nashville rooftop lighting, or whether Dylan's seating chart made sense. I checked into a small hotel a block from Waikiki Beach. My room was simpler bed, a balcony, a little desk, but the view, ocean, endless blue, glittering under the sun. I stood there, hands on the balcony rail, and realized I'd been clenching my jaw for months. I let my shoulders drop. I breathed in, I breathed out. That night, while my family scrambled, I walked along the shoreline barefoot. The water lapped at my ankles. The sky turned orange and pink. I didn't check my phone. I didn't open my email the next morning. I found a flyer for a meditation class at a Buddhist temple in a quiet valley. On a whim, I went. The temple was peaceful, wrapped in green. The instructor, a woman named Leilani, had this calm energy that made you feel like you could set down all your worries for an hour. We sat cross-legged on cushions as she spoke. Focus on your truth, she said softly. Breathe in what serves you. Breathe out what doesn't. I closed my eyes, breathed in, breathed out. I saw Dylan's text. You're not worthy. I breathed it out. I saw Mom's face, pinched with disapproval. Don't make a fuss. I breathed it out. I saw Dad's messages. Do your part. Out. Vanessa's caption. Best bachelor party ever. Out. In its place, I tried to breathe in something new, worth peace, self-respect. It wasn't some magical cure. I still felt hurt, but for the first time in a long time, I felt like my feelings weren't drowning me. That afternoon, back in my hotel room, I pulled out a notebook I'd thrown in my suitcase last minute. I started to write. Not plans, not seating charts, not timelines, just everything. The way Dylan's text had punched a hole in my chest. How Mom's be neutral felt like choosing him over me again. How Dad asking for money after I'd been banned was the clearest sign yet that he saw me as a resource, not a daughter. How Vanessa's post made me feel completely erased. How Tracy's words had cracked the illusion wide open. The pen moved faster than I thought it would. Page after page. By the time I stopped, my hand ached, but my head felt clearer. On my third day in Oahu, I was sitting in a little cafe near the beach, eating a poke bowl and scribbling in my journal, when my phone buzzed. Tracy, check your email, her text said, and don't freak out. Not ominous at all. I opened my email. There it was. A link to an article on a popular online magazine. Title: **** Event Planner. Excluded from her own family's celebration. When family first really means you last. ***, my heart started racing. I clicked. It was my story. Not word for word. Not with names, but definitely my story. She'd interviewed me before I left, asking questions about work boundaries for an article, and how family expectations bleed into careers. I hadn't realized she was going to publish so fast. She changed. Identifying details: no city names, no specific venues, no real names. I was A, Dylan was B, our cousin was C, but the core. A cultural event planner spent months planning an engagement party, was then told she wasn't worthy to attend, pressured for money, and walked away. Tracy wrote about how women in particular are expected to do unpaid emotional and logistical labor for family, and how standing up for yourself is labeled selfish. It was raw, honest, sharp. My throat tightened, reading it. At the bottom, there were already hundreds of comments. This hit way too close to home. Was the Gina in my family for years? You are absolutely not selfish for walking away. I've been guilted into being free childcare, free therapy, free everything. This made me cry. People were sharing their own stories of siblings who expected free work, parents who dismissed their pain, families that used family as a weapon. Strangers wrote, "Whoever you are, planner lady, I'm proud of you." I didn't realize I was crying until a tear hit my phone screen. I texted Tracy. "You made me cry in a cafe," I wrote. "This article. Thank you." She replied with a heart emoji and, "You deserved to be heard. Also, check your business email soon. Just saying." I did. Inquiries, so many inquiries. A music festival organizer in Nashville. "We read this piece and were impressed with how you handle pressure and boundaries. Are you available to consult on our spring festival?" A couple. "We want a planner who won't let our families steamroll her. Are you taking on new wedding clients?" A corporate client. "We're planning a downtown gala and need someone with your experience for cultural events." Zoom call. My story, my humiliation, my pain. My boundary was turning into opportunity. Not because I'd been a martyr, because I'd finally said no. 2 weeks later, I flew back to Nashville. My apartment looked the same sofa, same dishes in the sink, same pile of mail on the counter. I wasn't the same. I set my suitcase down and checked. My phone missed calls. Voicemails. Texts. "Mom, Gina, please call me. We need to talk. Things didn't go as planned. Dad, we should handle this like adults. Avoid making a scene. Call us. Vanessa. Hey cuz. Things got weird at the party. Can we talk?" Dylan. A whole thread of messages. "Why did you bail? You made us look stupid. Everybody was asking for you." Emma is furious. "You owe me an explanation. I can't believe you would sabotage your own brother." The word sabotage almost made me laugh. I didn't sabotage anything. I just stepped away from being their unpaid safety net. They were the ones who cut the rope. Tracy called that evening. "So," she said, "want the tea?" "Always," I said. She sighed. "Apparently, the party was a mess," she said. "People posted about the food being weird, the decor being half done, the couple fighting by the bar. Emma was screaming that Dylan said he had it under control. Dylan was yelling that Emma made him push you out. It was not a Hallmark moment." I leaned back on my couch. "And them?" I asked quietly. "Dylan and Emma." Tracy hesitated. "They called off the engagement," she said. "Word is, the fight from the party spilled over." She said if he couldn't even manage an engagement party without you, how was he going to manage a marriage? He said she pushed him to cut you out. Lots of blame. Zero accountability. I sat with that for a minute. I didn't feel joy. Exactly. I didn't want their relationship to fail, but I didn't feel guilt either. They built the entire thing on top of a lie that I would always be there, no matter how they treated me. When I removed myself, the cracks showed. That wasn't my doing. That was theirs. Tracy cleared her throat. "Do you want to go over your new inquiries?" she asked. "Because your email is popping." We spent the next hour going through messages, picking out the ones that aligned with what I wanted to do next. No more being the quiet, grateful planner in the corner. I wanted contracts, boundaries, respect. I met with the festival organizer downtown, overlooking the Cumberland River, pitching ideas for stages and cultural programming. I met with the couple, who wanted someone firm enough to keep both moms in line. I signed my biggest corporate client yet. All because I'd said to the world through Tracy's article, through my actions, that I would not be used as free labor anymore. My parents kept trying. More voicemails. Mom's voice was softer now, almost pleading. Gina, honey, please. We made mistakes. We didn't realize how much we were asking of you. Can we have dinner? Talk. Dad's texts were stiffer. We need to discuss what happened in a mature way. Your article, whatever that was, made us look bad. We can fix this, but not if you shut us out. Vanessa's message was half apology, half deflection. Sorry if we made you feel excluded. The party was crazy. Let's catch up soon. There was still no real ownership. No, we shouldn't have been okay with you being uninvited. No, we were wrong to ask you for more money after we banned you. No, we see how we've treated you like a tool instead of a person. Just regrets about outcomes. About optics. I sat on my couch one evening, phone in my hand, messages stacked up. I could have met them. I could have had the big talk. But I thought about what Leilani had said at the temple. Breathe in what serves you. Breathe out what doesn't. Did re-entering this dynamic serve me? Did it help me grow? Or did it drag me back into the same loop of guilt and obligation? I opened my contacts, blocked Mom's number, blocked Dad's, blocked Vanessa's. I hovered over Dylan's. My thumb hesitated. Memories surfaced. Us as kids. Building forts. Him sneaking cookies to me when Mom said no. No, me saving his butt when he forgot homework. Then the text, "You're not worthy." I hit block. The phone went silent. My apartment, for the first time, felt truly mine. It wasn't about punishing them, it was about protecting me. Now, sitting here telling you this, I want to be really clear. I don't think family is a bad word. I don't think cutting off people is something you do lightly. But I learned something. I wish I'd learned 10 years earlier. If the only version of you your family wants is the version that serves them, then they're not loving you, they're loving access to you. My family loved my ability to plan, my connections, my money, my willingness to drop everything. They did not love my boundaries, my hurt, my need for respect, my right to say no. Their idea of family first meant, family first, as long as Gina is carrying the load and not complaining. And for a long time, I played along. I wanted to be the good daughter, the supportive sister, the helpful cousin. But being the good girl almost cost me my sanity. Walking away from that engagement party, booking that flight, not answering those desperate calls when the rooftop caught metaphorical fire. That was the first time I chose me over the illusion of keeping the peace. And look at what happened. The people who were using me had to face the consequences of their choices. The relationship that was built on image instead of substance cracked. Strangers who'd gone through similar things found my story and felt less alone. My career grew not because I sacrificed myself, but because I drew a line. To anyone listening who feels like the unpaid project manager of your family, the default babysitter, the emergency fund, the emotional sponge, I want you to hear this. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival. You are allowed to say, no, I won't do that for free. No, I won't be spoken to like that. No, I won't keep pouring into people who only show up when they're thirsty. You are allowed to walk away from a table where the only thing you're offered is crumbs and criticism. You are allowed to build a life where your worth isn't determined by how much you can endure. My brother's engagement collapsed under the weight of their decisions. My parents had to sit with the fact that their golden boy couldn't shine without the sister they treated like a shadow. And me, I'm planning festivals, weddings, and galas for people who actually respect what I bring to the table. I'm taking trips where my phone stays on Do Not Disturb, and my value is not measured by how quickly I respond to someone else's crisis. I'm learning, slowly, that my worth doesn't come from how useful I am to other people. It comes from me, from my work, from my heart, from my boundaries. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been where I've been used, dismissed, then panicked called, when everything falls apart, I see you. Drop your story in the comments if you're comfortable. I promise you, someone else needs to read it and realize they're not alone. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you don't miss more long story times like this. Stories about justice, boundaries, and finally choosing yourself. Because if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's this. You are not worthy. You are just not available for people who refuse to see your worth. Asterisk, asterisk.